Yay, we're away. Welcome. So I'll get everyone just to put your what are they called? Your speakers, your microphones on mute.
Yes, yeah.
Again. I'm gonna keep letting everyone in. Okay, there. Awesome. I'll mute a couple of you too. Beautiful. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. All right. So how are we all doing today? Let's all take a big collective breath together. Drop into the space, give yourself full permission to be as present as is humanly possible over the next hour or so. I know that a lot of you are probably going to be multitasking and running around of children and probably shoving food in your mouth, and that's all perfectly welcome. All of you is welcome in this space. My intention for tonight is to just give you guys so much value, to give you so much information around everything that my world is full of, everything that I've tested and trialed, everything that's been a huge big part of my journey over the last 20 odd years. So we're going to go deep. We're going to go outside the box. As you know, I think anyone who's followed me for a while knows that I don't do everything by the box or by the book. I am an Aries, so I have no filter. I'm high energy. I talk fast. There's going to be a lot going on, but can I just ask your permission, guys, just to be really, really raw and vulnerable and real tonight? I've actually had some pretty awful news today concerning my beautiful sister-in-law health. So I've actually been a bit of a mess today. It's been a lot of tears, a lot of anxiety, and I had a lot of time today where I was like, should I call it off? Should I go ahead? Am I going to be in the right headspace? How's this going to go? I can't really think straight. It's been a pretty shitty afternoon, if I'm perfectly honest. But the thing that just kept coming through to me so strongly, and I couldn't, it just kept just downloading into my head, I couldn't ignore it, was empowering and educating women. And that is the Balanced Babe statement. That is my mission. That is my purpose. That is who I am. That is who I was here for. And I thought if there's ever going to be a better time to really anchor deeper into my mission and do what I do best and educate women and empower women, well, today of all days is probably the day. So I'm emotional. I'm probably going to cry at least once tonight. But that's the messy feminine, right? I'm not going to pretend to be someone I'm not. I'm going to show up as my true authentic self, and we're probably going to jump all over the space as a result. I'm probably going to go off target. I'm probably going to go off track. I'm probably going to mix up my words more than ever before. But it's all perfect, right? And, you know, a big part of what I do, all my energy and everything goes into prevention. And I truly believe with all of my heart that some of the information that I'm going to give you guys today is the information that if we have the courage and the motivation and the strength to implement, we can absolutely protect our bodies. We're going to do some deep emotional work. We're going to give you the system that I've been working with for many, many years, a system that I used on myself personally for many, many years to get myself out of all my own hormone hell. So this information is stuff that's really, really special to me. It's really powerful stuff. It means a lot to me. It's worked for me personally. I've seen it work for people, but I guess the message that's really coming through to me this afternoon is that we as human beings, we're not invincible. And that breaks my heart because I really fucking love life. Like, I love life. I love my life. I love my husband. I love my family. I love my chihuahuas. I love living every single day of this beautiful life. And so nothing breaks my heart more watching women struggle, watching humans in general struggle with chronic disease, and especially chronic diseases that, in my opinion, that we can prevent. And there is a lot that this universe is throwing at us in this day and age in terms of, you know, environmental pollutions and 5G and all the things, right? Being healthy is harder than ever before. But if we have some tools up our sleeve, and if we have a level of self-awareness to identify when disease is starting to tap us on the shoulder, that's when we can interject. Yeah. that is when we can actually start to listen to the subtle calls that come through the discomfort of symptoms that often show up through the form of uncomfortable hormones. And that's when we can start to make changes and protect our body. So as I said, I had that moment today where I was like, do I even go ahead today? I don't know how it's going to go. I'm all over the shop. I'm emotional. But for me, it was like, this is your calling. Like, this is what you're here to. This is my mission. So in light of everything that's happening, let's give it a go. Let's dive in. Let's share all this info with you. So give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen. All righty. I can't see you guys anymore. You've disappeared. So can someone unmute themselves and tell me if you can hear me or not?
I can hear you, Stace, but my friend Cassie says she can't hear you, and I don't know why.
Okay, well, that's probably going to be something that's on her end, unfortunately, and I'm not going to be able to help her with, because if you guys can hear me, it means it's not an issue on my end.
Yeah.
So I've just got to work out how to, I'm still admitting people, how to share my screen now. Beautiful. 1 second. There we are. I can hear my beautiful little dancer, daughter upstairs thumping around dancing. So if you can hear that, yay, let's celebrate that beautiful child just living her best life over there. Okay, we're away. I'm going to take another deep breath. Actually, I'm going to get you all just to close down your eyes for 1 second. And we're going to do a very, very simple breathwork technique, because this is one of the most simple yet profound breathwork techniques that you can do so simply and so easily at home, which can change your state. Nervous system dysregulation is the direct reflection of us being in this fight and flight response. And put your hand up if you don't have a stressful life. Right? Stress is everywhere. We're all activated all the time. Our nervous systems are fragile all the time. So this little breath technique that I'm going to show you is something that, if you can take that away from this evening and see, and see how powerful it is just to regulate that nervous system, it's a game changer. And I want you to take that. So if this is the one thing you take away from tonight, remember this breath. So just close down your eyes for 1 second if that feels comfortable to you. And we're just going to get you to breathe in your nose for 4 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then out your mouth for a count of 8. We're just going to repeat that as 4 cycles in your own pace. And as you're doing that, I want you to consciously drop your shoulders for me. I want you to consciously relax your jaw. I want you to give yourself permission to let go of everything that's happened in your day to day. I want you to give yourself permission to be present in your body. That's right. Just one more round for me. Who can feel a slight noticeable difference by being conscious of the breath and slowing that down? I'm all for tonight being super, super interactive. So at any point, if you guys have questions, please pop them in the chat. Like I said, my aim for tonight is for you guys to learn as much valuable things as possible that will change your life, that will connect you to your body, that will help you to understand your hormones, that will protect you from chronic disease. That is my ultimate mission. On top of that, I want you guys to have not just, be protected from chronic disease. I want you guys to live your best fucking life. Like, I want you guys to have all the energy and all the vitality and all the happiness in the world. And I'm going to share a bit more deeply about my story as we go through. But I'd love to know for you guys, why are you here? Like, what's going on for you that stresses you out? from a health point of view? Like, what is it that you struggle with? I know for some of you it's going to be your weight, some of it it's PMS, some of it it's autoimmune conditions, but I'd love you to just drop in the chat for you, like, what are the things that you'd really love some help with or some equip you with, so that I can make sure that we're covering that as well. Because let's be honest, hormonal imbalances, apparently it shows up as like 200 different symptoms. This is where my view on hormones is really quite different to, I guess, what the mainstream teaches us or even other practitioners, because the reality is, in my opinion, the hormones are never the problem. The hormones are the messenger. So if you have a symptom of a hormonal imbalance, what I want you to start understanding about your beautiful body is that you actually have something else going wrong that's out of balance or not functioning properly, or an organ that's not doing its job properly, that is leading to your body to intentionally choose to throw your hormones out of whack as a message to you. So we want to stop demonizing hormones. We want to stop making hormones the baddies, and we want to actually go, thank you, hormones. Thank you for showing me through these really uncomfortable, sore, painful boobs, or this painful period, or these hormonal mood swings. And we want to say thank you, because they're actually raising that red flag to let you know that your body needs some kind of attention. We need to make some kind of change. So let's keep that in mind. All right, my beautiful, beautiful people. So what is it that women want? Now, obviously, this is just my assumption based on all the work that I do with women. But the three absolute 100% most common things that I work with women is absolutely 100% weight management. And this is women who, struggling with things like, 30 kilos extra, right down to the women who just want to lose that pesky 5 kilos that they can't seem to match. Okay. So it doesn't matter where you're on that scale. The next two most common things are energy, wanting more energy and vitality. And the third, and this is a funny one because so many women almost say this with a bit of shame, it's like libido. And they come in and they feel guilty about not having a libido. They feel guilty about constantly turning down their husbands. They feel guilty about being too tired and not interested. And there's so much shame around libido and all this sort of stuff like that, but it's such a common thing. And for me, having a libido is simply a reflection of your vitality, and it's very much associated with your relationship with yourself. Yes, your relationship with your partner as well will play in on that as well. But the big one, the big way that we can make a huge impact on you having more of a libido is by improving your relationship with yourself, which is why I'm going to teach you guys my emotional evolution process. Okay, so before we begin, who is really, really excited about understanding their body? Who's really excited about, having vitality and learning more about their libido and all that sort of stuff? Give me yes, let's go in. Let's commit to the process, because I'm a big, big believer that if we actually energetically agree to it and we energetically, because it's the biology of belief, right? So many of us will start some kind of a diet plan or a weight loss thing or a health program, but there's this uncertainty and there's this fear and this lack of trust that would actually work. And so actually we take ourselves out of the race before we even start, because we don't actually believe that it can work. So I'm going to be banging on a lot about the energetics of healing. I am absolutely 100% probably more of a woo-woo naturopath than I am a science-based naturopath. I like the science of genetics. Let's be honest, a lot of science I freaking hate, like chemistry. I hate it. I'm not even going to lie. I got my foundations of chemistry class in uni, I only got a pass. And I was like, oh my God. And I was all embarrassed and ashamed. And I was like, I don't even care. I had to pay for a tutor for my next year, like level year 2 or year 3 of my naturopathy degree. I had to pay for a tutor because freaking chemistry is like another language to me. So but just to prime you guys, when I get really excited, I talk really fast. Sorry, so just listen really fast. I do swear a little bit when I get passionate and excited, and based on everything that's been going on today, it's likely that I'm going to be emotional and vulnerable and I'm going to let a few slip. So apologies if that triggers you. I also have my very own made-up language, and my husband calls it Stacyisms, and he has a list in his phone of I think it's up to about 15 pages of words. I have this really brilliant skill of mixing different words together. So if you hear a Stacyism slip in there, feel free to have a giggle along and just go with it. Just read between the lines, because half the time I don't even know where that I've done it. Alrighty. Let's get going, guys. So this is how it's going to work. I am absolutely 100% going to stretch your nervous system this evening. I am going to present new concepts. I am going to present new ways of looking at things. And for this to work, for you to get value out of this training, I need you to be willing to see things differently. Because here's the thing, if what you are doing right now in your life is working for you, then awesome. That you've probably got unlimited energy. You've probably got a great sex drive. You're probably loving yourself sick when you look in the mirror and have the perfect ideal weight. If that's not a hell yes for all of those things, well, then it's as simple as we need to make some tiny shifts or some switches in your perception, your reality, how you're showing up, your daily routine, how you're living your life, how you're eating your diet. So I need a commitment from you straight up that, are you willing to see things differently? Are you open to change? Put your hand up, give me a hell yes if you are. Because if you're not, then this training probably isn't for you. I am about fast results. I am the most impatient person in the world, self-confessed. I know it's not a good trait. I'm working on it. But I am about fast tracking results. I'm about you guys getting results quickly. So I'm going to suggest and probably talk about some really weird things. If you guys have been following me on social media for a while, you know that I'm the coffee enema queen. Yes, I said that, sticking coffee up your butt. It's completely weird, but I don't just do it for shits and giggles. I do it because it actually works. It's backed by science. It's backed by my own 10 years experience, and it works. It's as simple as that. It works, but it's weird. So I get it. So please know that if you do get triggered and you find yourself contracting and you find your nervous system starting to go, oh, this chick's off her head. She's weird. I can't, like, oh my God. Come back to that breath I showed you. 4 breaths in the nose and 8 out. Because when we learn to lean into that resistance, that is where the magic happens. Because a lot of us are stuck in our patterns and our programs, and we're doing the same shit day in, day out, and we get our things that trigger us, so we just stay away from it, and we stay in our bubble, and we stay stuck in our own routine, and we're missing out on what we need. So what I'm asking for you is to lean into the information that I'm sharing tonight, and I'm asking you to be willing to see things differently. Be open mind, open heart, because that is where the magic is. That is how we create change in our day-to-day life, okay? Proud of you. You can do it. If I can do hard things, you can do hard things too. Right. Okay, so what I need you to give me permission to coach you. I need you to be willing to let me and other people in your world from this day forward to call you on your shit. It is about you taking radical responsibility for your life and for everything that is showing up in your world. Now that triggers the fuck out of people. But I say this because I want you to take back your power. And I'm going to teach you this system, but when we live by a belief that says that everything in this beautiful world is happening for a reason, it's happening to us, with the exception, depending on how woo-woo you want to go. Yes, I believe in things like soul contracts and stuff like that. So things that our soul decided on before we incarnated in this beautiful 3D reality in this lifetime at this time. But as a general rule, if we can start to take responsibility for everything that's happening in our world is a reflection of your inner world, which is ultimately a reflection of your beliefs and your vibration and your thoughts and your feelings. That's how we take back our power. Because if you can take responsibility for it as a creation of your own, that is how you get to change the creation of how the world is showing up around you, how people are showing up around you. Okay? So please lean into this stuff. This stuff is powerful. Yes, it's a bit woo-woo, okay? But there is so much science in the woo-woo in this day and age. If you follow people like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton, like there's so much brilliant stuff going on, actually measuring the biology of belief and the energetics of positivity. It's not all woo-woo, it's actual truth, okay? I'm also going to show you how you can work with me further if you're digging what I'm doing. If you're picking up what I'm putting down and what I share with you over the next hour makes sense and you vibe with it, I will definitely be inviting you to work with me after. Okay, so also just a reminder that I am doing a giveaway. So one lucky winner will be receiving free access to my boot camp. This person does need to be on live. I think we had 19 entrants. Some of them were multiples because they shared multiple times. So that will be happening at the end. So stay tuned on that one. So that's it. This is my body boot camp. So it's the body biohacking system. It's epic. Actually, let me tell you a little bit about it just briefly. This program is the modified version of my original teaching that I wrote a book on, the hormone healing system. So when I say modified, it's the biohacking version. I've gone through and chose all the bits that give you the rapid results, taken out all the fluff, all the research, and just gone 8-week, bang, 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 step by step, step by step. This is what you need to do. And it basically takes women through an 8-week transformation. Okay. It's a holistic approach. So that means that we work on your hormones, your emotions, and your physical body. So it's epic. I'll tell you more about that later. Oh, there you go. Shu. This is a bit there you can see on the screen. I'm not sure if I'm covering that. Am I covering that? Because I'm hanging over in mine. So that's just essentially like it's a system that I use. Like, so when I say this system, remember I was on a 10-year journey. Okay, 10-year journey of battling my weight, chronic eczema, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I was diagnosed as having started early onset menopause at age 27 because I had complete ovarian failure. I had cystic acne. I was a hot mess. And it took me, this was all happening, playing out slowly, gradually over a 10-year period. But essentially everything in this program is the things that work for me to get me back into my absolutely fabulous self. So who wants to win Bootcamp? Remember, declare it to the universe. You go all in and say you want to do it. Like literally just affirm. I don't care if you don't want to be crazy and like speak out loud to yourself, but if you even just affirm in your head, I want to win that. Like there's a fair chance energetically the universe is going to support you. And it all happens through the law of attraction. So this is what I'm talking about, the energetics of healing. It's the laws of manifestation. And I am a woo-woo naturopath that talks a lot about manifesting because I'm not actually just about you losing weight. I'm actually about my passion, my purpose is for you to have the best freaking life, to have the deepest, most beautiful soul connection with your husband. It is about the energy, the vitality, the libido, but all the other things too. The dream house, the dream car, the holidays, the beautiful connections with your children. Like that's what being a balanced babe is. It's not just balanced hormones. It is so much more than just balanced hormones. So to create that, I need you to lean into the woo-woo a little bit. I need you to understand the power of the energetics of healing. I'm going to take you through my process, the emotional evolution process of how we do that. So again, who wants to win access to Bootcamp? Declare it. Or if you're not interested in winning Bootcamp, come back to that original thing as to why you came here, your goal of what it is that you wanted to achieve. So if it is the weight loss, if it is I don't know, something you're struggling with hormonally, like declare it. I'm ready to heal. I believe I can heal. I want to heal. And it seems so silly and obvious saying those things out loud like that. But the reality is most of us have a disconnect with that because we're stuck in the story and the drama and the pain of what we're suffering with. And we cycle around like, oh, this is frustrating. This is hopeless. It's never going to work. I don't know how to do this. And we're in this lowered vibrational state and we're not trusting the body and we're not trusting the world around us. So honestly, the energetics of healing is a huge part of it and it's powerful. And it's actually like the easiest part because it's just essentially fantasizing and declaring and journaling and saying yes to life essentially. So it's the easy part of healing. All right. So my loves, this is the beautiful Steph. I'm just want to show you her.
That I bought.
She's lost 10 kilos since working with me and following our system. This is just her in disbelief of how it's fallen off so easily. How cool is that? Because as you can see, Steph was like, I don't even understand how I've lost so much weight so easily because that's what I'm all about. I'm about fast tracking results. I am about the results being effortless. I'm about them just being seamlessly woven into your day-to-day life. That's what works for me. And that's what I want to work for you. So I've already sort of touched on hormone imbalance. Look at there. So I'm going to just quickly run you through my story because it's actually really, really, really powerful. And you can see me on the screen there. And I guess the first thing that you're all going to notice is my beautiful, big, round, inflamed, swollen face. Oh, I love her. So much pain in this beautiful woman. So I've spoken to you guys briefly already tonight. And, you know, if you've followed me for a while, you'll know the story. You know, like I had polycystic ovarian. So, but I struggled with my periods from a really young age. So, but I didn't know any different, right? So I got my period around 13, 14. And from the moment I got my periods, they were random as fuck. I would get them basically every 14 to 17 days, and they were heavy. I didn't really know anything different though. I didn't talk. Just remember to put yourself on mute as you jump in. I didn't remember to, I didn't know, I didn't have, talk about periods a lot with my mother at the time. So I just thought it was normal. But it wasn't uncommon for me to have to come home from high school with my school jumper tied around my waist because I bled through onto my school dress. That was a common occurrence for me. So my periods were, irregular and disordered from the beginning. And that just continued to get worse and worse. Now, obviously, once I hit my early 20s, my lifestyle was definitely not ideal. Drinking alcohol on the weekends, partying late nights. I've always been a very disciplined person. I've always been a go-getter, a high achiever. So I was living life in the fast lane. So I was partying hard with my friends. I was working full time. I was still studying. And I could feel my weight slipping more and more every year. And it was a gradual thing. So even though I wasn't overweight at all when I finished high school, I believed I was overweight. I had a deep self-rejection of my body. And, I was 5 kilos lighter probably than most of the photos you can see on the screen, but I didn't like it. I hated it. There was just constant rejection, constant self-loathing, constant looking in the mirror, and just so desperately wanting to change the way I looked, constantly comparing myself to everyone. And if I don't know if any of you can relate to being in that state, but it's exhausting. It consumes you all day, every day. Every time you catch your reflection in a mirror. And I had a massive issue as well with my nose. And I'm going to show you my nose inside you right now. You have this beautiful, big, strong nose, which takes a lot for me to say that. I hated my nose. I was adamant that I was going to Thailand. I was getting nose surgery since I was about age 15. But I've made peace with all that. So that was my story. I was very rejected how I looked big time. My periods were awful. I was eventually diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome in my early 20s. I had burst cysts where I ended up in hospital because of excruciating pain, for anyone who knows what that feels like. I developed cystic acne on my back, which was my poor liver just not being happy with the amount of alcohol I was drinking on the weekends. The eczema eventually came and covered my arms for years and years and years. And then eventually when everything fell into a heap and I was diagnosed as starting perimenopause at age 27, put on a lot of weight quickly. I went from being about 7 kilos overweight to putting on 7 to 8 kilos in a 3-month period. I essentially hit adrenal fatigue. So burning the candle at both ends, partying a lot, working full time. I was also exercising morning and night 4 days of the week. Okay. Just muting yourself for me, Jess. So basically, I was burning the candle. I was spent because I was up at 5 a.m. It didn't matter if I went out partying till 3 a.m. in the morning. I would still set that alarm and get up at 5 a.m. in the morning because I was like, well, if you're going to go out late drinking and dancing, you can't skip an exercise. I was a very dedicated, determined person. So you can imagine 5 years into this lifestyle, my body fell in an absolute heap. And this is where the adrenal fatigue set in. My thyroid slowed right down. I was extremely inflamed, the excess cortisol issues. You can see my face, like so inflamed. But this was just the 3D. I want to share a little bit deeper with you now, because my journey was so much more than just what I was doing to my physical body and not eating correctly for my body type. Back then, I was also trying every single diet under the sun because I was so desperate to lose that 5 kilos, right? That 7 kilos. I tried everything. But the damaging thing really, really started emotionally. And so this is what I want to share with you, because I feel like so many women can relate to this being a thing for them. And I'm already getting a little bit emotional talking about it because I've never, ever shared this publicly. And it's a very vulnerable, raw sort of story. But my real wounding began at about age 23 when I moved to the Gold Coast. And I was an extremely naive country girl. I grew up in a huge, big country town. And I'd only had the one boyfriend, and I was with him for the 4 years from about age 18 to 22. We broke up. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to move to the Gold Coast. I had family on the Gold Coast. So I moved to the Gold Coast a couple of months in, very naive, Stacey. She went out on the town and I met this beautiful man. First mistake. He was up on a football trip. I met this beautiful man. He was 6'10", and I was just like in awe. Like I couldn't believe this. He was gorgeous, absolutely stunning. 6'10", had him on this pedestal. So, and he, he came and talked to me, and I, was like so uncomfortable, whatever. So anyway, I ended up going home with him. Well, actually, he came home with me. So as you can probably imagine, did what we did. And after we finished, I went into the bathroom and I went to the toilet and I heard a door slam. And I've never shared this with even any of my friends, some of you on. And I was like, what's going on? And I walked out, and he essentially grabbed his clothes, walked out the front door, slammed the door behind him, and just left without saying a word. This is like immediately after we'd had sex. And I remember walking out into the balcony of I was living in a high-rise apartment. I remember walking out the balcony and just seeing his back walking away, carrying his shoes, just walking off down the street. And I remember just feeling like the most biggest, worthless piece of shit ever. Like, it was awful. And in that moment, I didn't tell anyone because I was humiliated and I was so ashamed of myself. And in that moment, what I made that mean was that, well, it's my own fault. What do you expect? You've gone home with a random stranger. How would he ever respect you? How could he ever like you? This is your fault. You deserve this. And that's what I made it mean in that moment. And that set about like a massive downward spiral of my self-worth and my self-belief. And essentially from that moment on, I rejected everything about me, because I know I was already struggling with self-rejection, but I rejected every single thing about me from that point on. And the shame that I felt, I suppressed that because I was so embarrassed and I didn't want anyone to know what I'd done. I didn't want anyone to know what he'd done. And it was just a really, really awful time. And so I suppressed that shame, and I tried to pretend like it didn't matter, but I took with me a belief that I was a worthless piece of shit and that I deserved to be treated like that, and that was my fault. About a month later, I developed genital warts. Oh. And so, as you can imagine, that is a physical manifestation of the shame that I had suppressed inside my body. And again, so then the shame just spiraled on again and on again and on again. And I lost all confidence, as you can imagine. I was very, very lucky because I was studying naturopathy. I treated myself with homeopathics, and I actually was able to get rid of the presentation of the genital warts within about 6 months. And I've never, ever had a show since, which I'm extremely grateful for. So if anyone's having issues with stuff of this, homeopathics is the way. So basically, that was then the next 6 years of my life living on the Gold Coast. I was zero self-confidence. You wouldn't have known it from the outside because I chose to use alcohol as a tool to build myself up. I was out and about. I even ended up getting a bit of a nickname. My friends would call me Serial Passion Natasha because I became extremely frigid. I never went home with boys or did that anymore, but I would, pash a guy on the dance floor and run off and never commit to anything. And so my entire 6 years of living on the Gold Coast, the moment where this started, was this girl you can see in front of you on the screen who just loathed herself. She was so ashamed of herself, and the weight just kept piling on, kilo by kilo. And she tried so desperately, so hard to just try every diet and try everything. But essentially the weight was a physical representation of how I believed about myself, how I felt about myself. And so eventually I left the Gold Coast completely broken, completely bruised. I didn't have a relationship for that entire 6 to 7 years. And this next part of my story that I'm going to share is something that I want you to know that I share from a place of love and from complete healing. I have nothing negative to say about this person at all. So I just want to really preface that. But I left the Gold Coast. I really threw myself in, I hibernated for a year, and I threw myself into every webinar and every book to heal myself. And that was over that 12-month period that I lived away from the Gold Coast that I gradually started to lose the weight. I repaired the adrenal fatigue. I started the process of, losing the weight, repairing the thyroid. I was on a lot of herbal medicine, a lot of supplements. And it took me a good year to really bring things back in check from a hormone point of view. I then moved to the Sunshine Coast, and the first man that I met on the Sunshine Coast, well, he more or less asked me to be his girlfriend within 2 weeks of knowing him. And for someone with zero self-esteem, like that was like, oh my God, like, am I worthy? Am I lovable? This is the best thing ever. So I went headfirst into that relationship with zero self-awareness, ignored every single red flag that there was. I then went on to have a child with this human, and that relationship was probably just as damaging because he wasn't faithful at all. Right up until 6 weeks before I had my baby, I was still getting text messages from random women who were tracking me down on Facebook to say that they'd been, you know, hanging about with my father of my child. And I was just, it was so broken, like so broken. And I say this because I have this pure forgiveness there now, because I'm taking full responsibility for what I created. And what I mean by that was, I was this naive girl who had no self-worth, no self-love, who hated the way she looked, who hated everything about herself. And so who believed at my core that I was never going to be enough for anyone because I was a worthless piece of shit. So of course I called in and attracted a partner who had their own demons, their own self-worth issues, their own pain, who couldn't show up for me, who played out the beliefs that I held about myself. And so they did what they did. And like I said, I share this from a space of, I can share this now because I'm here. I have a brilliant relationship with my daughter's father now, better relationship than I've ever had. We communicate better than we ever did. There's more respect there than there ever was. So I don't want there to be any, you know, me blaming at all. I am absolutely 100% not a victim. I am 100% not a man hater, because I now have the most beautiful husband that anyone could ever hope for. And there is no way in hell that I could have attracted and called in the most perfect husband if I was still in blame and I was still in shame and I was still making it all his fault. It was a co-creation. I was where I was at. And so I was creating that response.
You know, one of those other wine.
No. I'm just muting people as we go. So that's where I was at. So the reason I wanted to share the backstory and the emotional story is because I cannot stress more highly enough that your emotional health is just as important as your physical health. You can do all the dieting, you can do all the supplement taking, you can do all the exercise. Like, remember, look at this girl. Like I was that day, that photo on the left was taken. I read run 10Ks. I was training. I was running 6 to 7, 8Ks a day. Like, I wasn't lazy, but I was just kept putting on the weight. I was eating well also. I was following a paleo diet back then. So I was eating meat. My day consisted of, I would have like this really healthy smoothie and I'd put coconut cream in and coconut oil and all the seeds and all the frozen fruit, and I eat for breakfast. And then for lunch, I would have meat and just stir-fried veggies. Afternoon tea, I'd have a protein bar. And then for dinner, it was, again, chicken mostly and stir-fried vegetables. Like, I was eating clean. I was following a strict paleo diet. I was running 8Ks most days. And yet I kept getting fatter and fatter and fatter. I kept putting on the weight. And this was because it was a reflection of the wounding that I carried and the beliefs that I held about myself. And so this is how the emotional evolution process was birthed, which is what I'm going to teach you tonight. But don't worry, I'm not a victim. This story has a happy ending. Ta-da! So I don't know if you can see. So this is a private photo shoot that I had done. I've obviously not shared this on social media because it's an intimate photo, but I'm chose to share this with you guys tonight because I want you to see my transformation. This is me now. And you saw where I was based on everything that happened. And I wanted to share this because this is a celebration of my transformation, everything I've been through and everything I've achieved in my body. And I want you to know that it doesn't really matter that I'm 14 kilos lighter in these photos on the screen now than what I was back then. What really matters is that I'm a different person in those photos. I'm a person that actually genuinely loves and accepts every part of herself. My beautiful husband's here just getting me a cup of tea. Thank you, beautiful.
I love your nose.
So yeah, funny story. As you know, I wanted to get surgery on my nose like my entire life. After a couple of dates with my husband, one of the first things he said to me was like, God, I love your nose. And I remember just thinking, what the fuck? Like, are you serious? And I remember just laughing inside myself and going, this is how I know all this inner work that I've been doing myself is paying off, because I've manifested a man who actually thinks the thing that I spent my entire life rejecting, he actually loves it. What I also want to say to you guys is, it doesn't matter what the number on the scales is, okay? Like, yeah, we can celebrate myself. Yay, I lost 14 kilos. But what you see in that picture is someone who was willing to celebrate it. Now, I was awkward as fuck, just so you know, in those photos. There were so many awkward photos. The lady was just laughing at me we were laughing the whole time. I was feeling so uncomfortable, but it's like, I just want you to know that you can go through, you can carry shame for years, you can have body rejection for years, but when you actually learn the process of evolving emotionally and you learn the process of learning how to love and accept yourself, everything in your world will open up. Your relationships will deepen, your physical health will improve, your happiness, your money, your bank account, your career, absolutely everything. Everything comes from within, and everything in your external world is a reflection 100% of what you believe about yourself and what you believe about the world around you. And this is why this work is so bloody powerful. So enough of me, my raunchy red little outfit there. Let's move on. Oh, no, I want to go back. Sorry. I don't know if I can go back. Oh, yeah. So this is my other little celebration screen, because from where I've been, if you remember that girl, you can see that beautiful photo. So as part of my journey of having started early menopause at age 27, I was told that I would never, ever conceive naturally and that I needed to start IVF. I did conceive naturally. There's still a lot of pain in that photo that you can see, because literally the day before that photo was taken was when I found out that the father of my child had been sleeping around. A lot of pain, but that photo is a beautiful celebration of the fact that I got pregnant. I had the miracle of life inside me. As you know, I married my soulmate. I've dropped all my body shame. I'm living my dream life. I'm working in business with my best friend. So I want you to know that if you are feeling like life is hard at the moment, if you're feeling frustrated with your weight or your health or any part of your relationship, please just be open to the fact that things can shift in a minute if you're willing to go within and take radical responsibility and implement things I'm about to teach you. It is powerful, powerful things. And honestly, you can manifest absolutely everything that you desire. I truly, truly believe this. At the moment, I'm working on manifesting a home. I want to be a homeowner. No fucking idea how the hell that's going to happen at the moment in this sunny coast market, but I'm going to hold the faith. I'm going to keep believing, keep trusting that somehow that's going to happen. So watch this space, guys. Next couple of years, you know, come and hang out with me in my house and we have a celebration party. All right. I want you to listen to Mel.
Gosh, where do I start? I went into this retreat with absolutely no expectations, just an open mind and an open heart. I feel emotional. And my heart and my mind is completely blown in the most amazing way. I feel very heard and seen and loved and supported, and found a beautiful community and family. So what was the best thing about the retreat? The laughter, the slowing down of life, no connectivity to phone and time, and all of the responsibilities, just connecting to your own heart and being able to enjoy connection in life.
Would you recommend this retreat to other people?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So thank you to beautiful Mel for sharing her testimony. I wanted to put that in, guys, because retreat, as you know, my beautiful husband and I run our Balanced Heart Retreat, and what we do at retreat is the emotional evolution system that I'm about to teach you. We immerse you in it. We transform your relationship with yourself. So just going to throw that out there. Balanced Heart Retreat. Next one coming up in November, if your heart calls. Alrighty. So I think most of you all know me. I'm not going to bang on about my qualifications, but I did actually have some random person inbox me. I reckon it was a bot, but some person messaged me and they said something like, can you please give me some evidence that what you're talking about is actually true? And I was like, yeah, sure. I have a Bachelor of Health Science. And I remember just writing it out going, this is what I do. This is what I have. I have 17 years clinical experience. I have a lot of personal experience, as you've all known. I've journeyed all the pain. So there's my qualifications. So just in case any newbies are watching this, and I don't know why I can't change the screen, but there you go. So guys, who wants to be a balanced babe like me? Yay, remember, we're declaring to the universe. Come on, like I want you to be fist pumping the air and be going, fuck yeah, I'm ready for change. I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to have it all. I'm ready to be it all. I'm ready to feel it all. I'm ready to fucking love the shit out of myself. This is what we want for you, okay? Being a balanced babe requires a holistic approach to your health and your life, okay? And so what that looks like is we work on your physical, we work on your spiritual through tapping you into feminine energy, and we absolutely 100% work on your emotional health by connecting you back with self-love. And it's fun. It's fun. I promise you it's fun. Alrighty. So let's get really real about where we are at right now, okay? want you to just check in with yourself with these questions. So when was the last time you loved what you saw on the scales or what you saw in the mirror? And please take just a minute, you know, if you feel like answering in the chat, please do. If you don't, please just answer in your head, because we can't make a change without awareness as to where we are right now. When was the last time you felt sexy? And remember, sexy is a feeling. It's got nothing to do with what size of clothing you're wearing. You don't have to lose any weight to feel sexy. It is a feeling, it is a vibration, and this is what Balance Babes, we embody that. Nothing to do with how you look and everything to do with how you feel, which influences. When was the last time you actually instigated sex with your partner? Okay, because you had the energy to, right? Because you could be bothered after running around after kids all day and running a business and, you know, life and working and all the things, right? Because that's a big part of having low libido. Most of us are just too spent. And the reason we're too spent is because we've been giving our energy all day long to things that don't actually light us up out of obligation, you know, volunteering at certain things, and because we felt we had to, because it was the right thing to do versus something that actually lit you up, you know, doing all the housework because you haven't learned how to communicate your needs and ask for the help that you want. We throw ourselves out, and if we've been giving out our energy all day, every day, there is nothing left to put out with at the end of the day when it comes time to being intimate, right? So when was the last time you felt emotionally balanced? Okay. When was the last time you had the energy to just smash out your day? And for some of you, you'll be already in tune with this, and you'll already be on your journey to being a balanced babe. And some of you might be like, oh, no to every single one of them. And don't, please, beautiful, do not spiral into any shame or any overwhelm. Fuck, you know, I've got so much work to do. When we start the journey, everything falls into place on a domino effect. So trust that. It really, really does. Healing can be fun. Healing can be easy. Like Balance Babes is also a little bit, because, you know, I'm a little bit cheeky and I love me some chocolate and I love a glass of wine on the weekend with my husband or my girlfriends. I do not drink coffee, but, you know, I've done my little sneaky espresso martini. So remember, you don't have to be perfect to be balanced. You don't have to be perfect to be healthy. You don't have to be perfect to have all the vitality. That is a big part of the Balance Babes lifestyle, but it's about understanding, listening, tuning in, checking in, and having some tools up your sleeve that you can counteract any of that, you know, naughty food that you're eating. I want you guys to have fun and be happy. So just know that this is where you're at. It is not forever though. If you are willing to lean into the information that I teach you, and if you're willing to see things differently, if you're willing to make some changes and do it from the biology of belief that you can and that it will work, okay? And I want you to ask yourself as well, like, if what you're doing right now is working, you know, sure, go on, do it, keep going with what you're doing. But if it's not working and you're feeling crap and you're feeling like you're growing more and more disconnected from your husband and you're feeling like you're hating on yourself, because a lot of the reasons why we can start to disconnect from our husband and shy away from intimacy or, you know, love making is because we feel crap in ourselves, because we don't feel sexy, because we're shaming ourselves for the fact we've just eaten half a bucket of chocolate and all these things. And so we contract ourselves and we start to hide in our body, and then it just spirals, and without even knowing, we're pushing the people that we love away. And it's this unconscious process, and it can be so, so damaging in the long run. But this is where self-awareness is everything, and this is the process we're going to teach you. So what I want you guys to get comfortable with is an ego death. An ego death is essentially the death of a part of your personality or a belief system that is not serving you, okay? We all have a belief system based on our upbringing. It's been influenced, and a lot of it's formed in our formative years in those first 7 years, but it's still being molded beyond that, 100%. And our beliefs are based on everything we've been through, everything we've been exposed to, and then how we choose to view the world, okay? If you have a belief that is not serving you, as in it's keeping you stuck in the same old pattern, the same old routine, the same old self-shaming, the same old blaming, the same old, you know, calling in the wrong people or eating the wrong foods, you know, believing you should eat that but doesn't actually serve you, I want you to be willing to surrender that part of yourself that is not serving you. We need to have an element of an ego death to shift what is not serving you, okay? It's your outlook on life. It's your approach to how you're living your life. It's your approach to maybe how you're dieting, your approach to how you're potentially exercising. Maybe it's not, you're not exercising in line with you. And so quite often your ability to heal, your ability to lose weight will go hand in hand with how willing you are to surrender to change and how willing you are to let go of that part of yourself. And it feels scary right now because, right, what I'm essentially asking you to do is surrender parts of you that's not serving you and jump into the unknown, which is scary. I get it. That's why we hold hand in the process, okay? But your results for your weight loss, for your hormone balancing, for your periods, for your fertility, for your how well you cruise through perimenopause is all determined by how willing you are to see things differently, how willing you are to shift and change, okay? So whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are right. Pretty sure it was Henry Ford who said that. Don't quote me, but I think I'm right because I believe I'm right. So let's just look at that for a second. Let's just say you've got 20 kilos to lose. Whether you believe you can lose those 20 kilos or believe you can't, you are right. You are creating your reality all day, every day with the beliefs that you hold, with the thoughts that you have, with the actions that you make, with the steps that you take, okay? So please, please know that your belief system is like the most important thing in the world. Like you can go for a 10K run on the treadmill every single day, but if you're running going, this is not going to work, this is a waste of time, I can't believe, guess what? Your belief will trump anything you do in the 3D. Anything we do in the physical world will be trumped by our beliefs. And this is where we're starting to play into the 5th dimension, okay? Get a bit woo-woo, but just go with it. Okay, so in order to biohack the body, there's a few certain things that we need to address, okay? We need to look at your genetic potential. I like to call it your genetic blueprint. We've all been dealt a certain amount of gene, or we've all been dealt the same amount. We've all been dealt certain genetic genotype at birth. It does not change. The cards you're dealt are the cards you have the rest of your life. But the power is in how you live in alignment to best support those genes. So we can't ignore your genes. And this is where I always hear people going, you hear a lot of people going, everyone's got to be on a carnivore diet or everyone's got to be on a vegan diet. Science to equally prove that both those diets are beneficial. It doesn't matter if your genetic predisposition is thrives more of eating meat and you try and force yourself into a plant-based lifestyle, that's where potentially you may get sick eventually. Now, I also want to just put in a little disclaimer. If you are following a vegan diet because of your connection to the animals, 100% I support that. I am with you. You just may need to supplement a few things. For example, if you have a specific genetic type that says that your body is really crap at producing vitamin B12 and then you go on a really low vitamin B12 diet, you're going to have to surrender to the fact that you're going to have to supplement B12. This is the genetic hacks. This is the biohacks that I'm going to teach you guys so that we know where we're at, we know what we've got, and we just make the most of it. And we live life in accordance to what we've been dealt with our genes. Okay? Physical healing must take place if you are dealing with hormonal imbalances. I don't believe that you can manifest good health without doing some work on your physical body because this physical vessel needs to be clean and clear. We live in a world where we're exposed to toxins all day, every day. And so this is why I love my coffee enemas, right? Because that's one way, there's a million other ways, one way that we can start to detox and cleanse out toxins out of our body. Toxins cause disease. End of story. Shitty thoughts cause disease also, okay? Genetic weaknesses that go missed and not lived in accordance to cause disease. There's a lot of things that cause disease, and this is what I'm mapping out. If we can start to address all these things, you will heal and you will have the health and the life and the body that you desire. Your relationship with yourself, I've already talked about that, how it's important. Your biology, belief. And then finally, the ability for you to embody feminine energy. This is a non-negotiable also. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a woman that is very often in my masculine. I run a business. I was a single mum for many years. I'm in my masculine a lot. There's nothing wrong with women operating from their masculine. But we also need to operate from our feminine as well. We need to be able to shift into both. We need to be doing feminine embodiment practices as well. So please don't in any way make me feel like, oh, we have to be in our feminine all day, every day, which is the floating through life and the airy fairy delicate where we're just manifesting and not actually doing anything. I believe that the masculine and feminine are very equal and they support one another. And I always envision them as the what's it called? The, you know, that thing.
Yin yang.
Yeah, that yin. Yes, whoever said that, brilliant. But also the infinity symbol. It's like the masculine, the feminine, infinity, and it just they flow and work together and they support. So thank you. So it's like that, but yin and yang, absolutely, that's another great way of describing it. Thank you. So we can embody both and we can be both and we can switch from one to the other. So these are some beautiful women who were in my bootcamp round last time. Aren't they just stunning? I love them both. And yeah, Nikki's just saying how she loved the emotional evolution stuff. You know, she didn't sign up to bootcamp for that, but that's one thing she found that really, really, really beneficial. And Lisa was stoked to share with me that she didn't have any PMS, even just like, you know, 2 months in. So these principles, what I'm showing you is proof that things work. They absolutely work. So the emotional healing biohacking technique. If you don't already have a pen and paper with you, I would suggest you grab one. I don't mind if you take photos of the screen. This is going to be recorded and I'm going to give you guys access to it so you can revisit this. But this is the real teaching part that we're diving into now. This is the emotional evolution system. And this is, in my opinion, the most profound thing that I'm going to teach, because this is the thing that got me from that broken, completely broken, overweight girl who had no self-esteem, no self-respect, and no self-love, who only called in men who continued to reject her, who continued to walk all over her, who continued to not see her because she never saw herself. This is the technique that I use and I will continue to use in my life every single day. Every single time I get triggered, I use this technique and I'm able to move myself through. So emotional evolution is the process of essentially moving your thoughts, your emotions, your vibration from a state of a low vibrational emotion to one that feels better, a higher vibrational emotion. So if we look at shame, for example, if you look at the David Hawkins scale of frequency, shame is the lowest frequency. It sits at a frequency of about 20 hertz. The lower the vibration, the more chance of creating disease, which is why you saw what I manifested, because I was so deep in shame. Okay. So emotional evolution is a process of healing from our emotional wounds. It's a process of transforming our limiting beliefs into beliefs that actually serve us. It's about identifying and meeting your unmet emotional needs. Little tip, PMS, everything you're blowing up about in your premenstrual window, everything that's irritating you and triggering you and annoying the shit out of you is a reflection of your unmet emotional needs. Okay. And it's actually a gift that in our premenstrual window, everything annoys us and we get an opportunity for the light to be shown on our triggers so that we can sit in it and go, wow, this is annoying me. What do I need to know about it? And work our way through the emotional evolution steps and transmute. Otherwise, if we don't take action, don't take power, the same old shit triggers every single month. And every month when you blow up at your partner or your kids or whatever, then you cycle through your shame and your guilt and you feel like a horrible person and you hate yourself for being so psycho or so cranky and losing the shit. But the same thing happens in the next month because you don't do anything about it. But this is an opportunity to really sit within what it is that's causing the problems as well. So emotional evolution is transforming a trigger. And what I want you to understand is that your trigger is the greatest gift that you will ever receive. What I mean by a trigger, for anyone who's not quite sure, a trigger is something that irritates us or causes an emotional reaction. So for example, you could be driving down the road and some dickhead that gets to put their blinker on and accidentally cuts you off and it triggers you into like, oh my God, like, you idiot, how dare you? I can't believe you didn't watch where you're going. We get triggered. People might say things that trigger us. Things can happen at work that trigger us. It's essentially something that throws us off balance emotionally and causes an uncomfortable emotion. And what's happening at an energetic and a nervous system level is our nervous system contracts. And we cringe and we go into this contracted state. We essentially go into a fight and flight response. And when we are in a fight and flight response, we are a lot more reactive. Okay. Our emotional resilience, our ability to, bite our tongue, so to speak, and not hurl abuse at people is kind of lost because we're in this stressed state and we're reactive and we go into a defensive state. Okay, so who can relate to feeling a little bit like that in the home? You're in their premenstrual window or through their perimenopausal years or just any time. Okay, who's ever been triggered? Guilty. Okay, you wouldn't be human if you didn't get triggered. Triggers are, again, let's come back to that original saying, our triggers are there to help us. And the reason they are so brilliant is because a trigger is showing you where your thoughts or your beliefs are out of alignment for what you're trying to create. Let me give you an example. Let's just say, for example, Stace, let's use me for example. I'm trying to manifest, I want to be a homeowner, okay? Every belief that I have in my body that doesn't align with me being a homeowner, like let's say I have a limiting belief that says, oh, I'll never be able to afford it. Oh, the prices of cost of living is too much. Oh, it's so expensive to buy on the Sunshine Coast. I'll never. So these are all limiting beliefs. So if I have that, what's going to happen is the universe is going to reflect things to trigger that belief in me, where I get to play the pity party and be triggered and be like, oh, this is bullshit. I can't believe how expensive the houses are, blah, blah, blah. So I'm triggered and I'm angry. If I go, oh, well, look, and observe my triggers, then I go, oh, look, I can now see the limiting belief that I'm carrying. And that limiting belief is going to 100% keep me separate. If I don't believe that I can become a homeowner because of all these excuses and reasons, then guess what? Being a homeowner is always going to be outside of me. It's always going to be further away from me. It's always going to be out of my reach until I genuinely 100% believe that is something that I can do. And then I become the vibrational match for that. I've got a lot of limiting beliefs I am working through. Trust me. Getting there. I'm emotionally evolving a lot. I'm doing a lot of processes on this. So does that make sense? Okay. So when you get triggered, let's use now for an example, a good old one. We always blame the men, but poor old men. Let's say, for example, it pisses us off every month in our premenstrual window when your husband leaves the toilet seat up or something. For me, it only annoys poor Trent. He annoys me when he doesn't wipe the bench down properly. Only annoys me in my premenstrual window though. What you need to understand, it's not about the bench not being wiped down, or it's not about the toilet seat being not down. It means something bigger than that. And so the process of emotional evolution is a step-by-step process of basically exploring the trigger, finding out the limiting belief underneath that, so that we can then evolve, communicate, and change the situation, change our perception, so that we can then be the vibrational match for what it is that we really, really want. It is powerful, powerful stuff. And I'm going to give you an example in a moment, but let's go through the process first. So this is where I want you to have your pens or take screenshots, because this is the step-by-step that you're going to be going through. Okay. Step one, first of all, we need to acknowledge the trigger. Okay. So don't just ignore it and go about your day all huffing and puffing and screaming and shouting as if it's just normal. It's not normal to be triggered. It's not, well, it is normal, it's common, but you know what I mean? It's not the natural state of how we want to exist. You're also not a bad person when you get triggered. The person who's triggered you is not a bad person. It's just life, right? It's just humans being humans, but it's information for you. So acknowledge the trigger and go, oh, wow, I'm really pissed off with you right now in your head. Don't project. We don't want to project. Acknowledge, okay, that person's just said, it's really freaking annoying me. You notice when we're triggered, we're contracted. We're all crossy, huffy, puffy, and we're arms across, okay? But if you can just remind yourself in that moment where there's that split section where you just want to abuse the person and be like, how dare you, you did this to me, blah, 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 project, blame, blame, blame. If you can affirm, all right, this is happening for me for a reason, to show me information, that is the first step. Next step, you want to identify the ego story. Okay, so what have you made it mean? Well, let's use the example of you driving in your car and some reckless bloody driver cuts you off. Probably an accident, okay? What does your ego make it mean, okay? For an example, oh, you bloody dickhead, you tried to kill me. That's an ego story. It is highly unlikely that that person tried to kill you. That person was probably just not paying attention in their own world, in their own shit. You don't know what was going on for them. Don't make it mean something other than it was, okay? Yeah, not cool by that person, not driving safely, but your ego wants to blame them, wants to make them the worst person in the world, wants to say, you're unsafe, you shouldn't be driving, ego, ego, ego. When the reality is that human had a lack of concentration. It wasn't personal. You were maybe just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Does that make sense? We can start to identify where our ego tries to blow it up and make it something bigger, we start to get a better idea of the limiting belief. Okay. Thirdly, you want to connect with the emotion. We don't want you to just ignore it or stuff it down like 23-year-old Stacey did and pretended like it didn't happen and made it her fault. We want to actually go, wow, you know, the car, for example, that was scary. Like my heart's jumping out of my chest. Like I was scared. You know, you ran me off the road. And come back to our breath, but acknowledge that it happened. Don't just suppress it and pretend like it didn't happen and go about every day. Take a moment to take a breath and go, wow, I'm really pissed off that person did that. I know I made it mean they want to kill me. They probably don't, but I'm feeling this. I'm processing emotion right now. I'm upset. Okay. We don't want to make ourselves wrong for being emotional beings. Humans are emotional. Sorry, let me reframe that. Humans are, yes, but females are emotional beings and we're meant to be. It's a superpower of ours. Emotions aren't bad. Emotions that are not processed and are then suppressed are bad. Okay. Step 4. Now what you need to do is you need to identify the limiting belief. And in this case of the car, you might hold a limiting belief that says it's dangerous to be on the roads. You know, you might have a limiting belief that car accidents, everyone dies in car accidents. Like you may have a trauma of a child where you were in a car accident, or you may know someone that died in a car accident or something like that. And so this is what formed the belief, the event that's happened somewhere at some life that has created a belief in you. But if that limiting belief is that everyone are bad drivers, people die, like this really dramatic belief. And of course, maybe this is happening in your unconscious mind. It's not happening in your forefront. Okay. It's happening in your unconscious mind. So what you need to go, all right, I can say I have a limiting belief. So I think that maybe like all men are bad drivers or all women are bad. Do you know what I mean? Like a limiting belief that's not actually true. But if it's been a belief in your unconscious mind, it is in there like a weed in your unconscious mind. And it is dictating how you see the world. You're walking around with this unconscious belief, all men are bad drivers, all men are bad drivers. Guess what you're going to see? You're only going to see bad male drivers, because this really beautiful part of our brain, it's called the reticular activating system, and its job is to prove you right. So whatever you believe, it is searching all day, every day for evidence to prove you right. Remember, whether you believe you're right or you believe you're wrong. You know what I mean? Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right, because your ego and reticular activating system is constantly searching for the evidence to prove you right. So remember, what we choose, what we believe, we keep calling in through the law of attraction. We keep calling in and finding the evidence and seeing life as it is based through our thing. So I had a limiting belief that I was impulsive. I had a limiting belief that no man liked me. I had a limiting belief that, about rejection. And so that was like that 7-year period. I never met any guy that was nice to me or actually wanted to be my boyfriend because of the limiting beliefs that I held. Okay, it's starting to make sense. This is what I want you to know, how powerful you are. You are creating your reality all day, every day, based on your beliefs. The problem, my beautiful person, is most of your limiting beliefs are in your unconscious, which means you're not even aware that they're in there. Because our body, our consciousness is really, really clever at suppressing painful memories because they're too painful if you were thinking about it all day, every day. Like I hadn't actually given any thought to that situation I shared you that happened to me at age 23. This is 17 years ago. I hadn't actually given that any thought until about 2 months ago. I had a massive trigger that came up that brought that back to my attention, and I got to heal that. And I'll share that in a moment. But it was to push down in my unconscious shaming, okay? Shame, guilt, all those low vibrational emotions, our beautiful bodies store those in our pelvic cavity. So most women who have really, really painful periods, who have, a lot of hormonal stuff going on, most women have some kind of level of shame around some part of their body or sexual experiences. It's a common thing. And so maybe you can relate to that, but we get to transmute that. We get to heal that. We've identified the limiting belief. So now it's time to shift your vibration. Okay. Simple question. Limiting belief, all men are bad drivers. Is that really true? Can we shift our vibration and be willing to see things differently and be willing to form a new empowered belief? Okay. And the new empowered belief could be, it's safe for me to drive. It's safe for me to be on the roads. Okay. So simple, but we're shifting it. Okay. The 6th step, you need to create a new story around that. We can't just go, it's safe for me to drive. creating a new story and finding evidence as well to affirm this new thing. So what that means is, well, you know, I'm 40 years old, but drive pretty much every day for the last 20 odd years, and I've only been run off the road once. Maybe there is more evidence to suggest that actually it is safe to drive, that actually, and I can list 10, 20, 30, 40 men who I know who are actually pretty good drivers. Do you know what I mean? We're finding evidence now, creating a new story around that belief. Okay. And then our final steps, now you need to embody this new thing. Okay. So for the car example, for example, it's like embodying it would be actually really not just telling yourself, okay, men are good drivers, or okay, it's safe to drive. You need to take action to embody it, to actually believe it. It's like when you're driving in the car, feeling safe, visualizing yourself being safe. Visualize, does that make sense? It's probably a bad example with the car, but you have to actually embody it and breathe it and interweave it into your life with step 8 there. So you need to then get in the car every day affirming, I'm safe. There's good drivers on the road. Make sense? Just keep affirming it and believing until your unconscious mind believes it. And the final step to really cement it in, this is crucial, you need to now actually take some kind of action that cements it in that new neural network in the brain. So what that would usually, it's like it's having the conversation or the communication. Like, for example, let's say, classic example of this, and it wouldn't roll out this quickly, but that driver that ran you off the road, they came over and said, hey, I'm sorry, or something, and you could go, rather than like, yeah, you should be sorry, you should be doing better, you should drive better, you're dangerous. Well, you could be like, hey, I can see you had a lapse of concentration. Thanks for your apology. I accept it. Next time, could you maybe not be on your phone when you're in the car? So you're talking up about what you need. You're setting a boundary, but you're affirming that for me to feel safe, this is what I need. Okay, so you're taking it, consciously communicating and interweaving that into your journal. So to give you that example of when I had my trigger come up a couple of months ago, what happened was I was out with my beautiful friend Nikki, and we were out at a networking meeting a couple of months ago, and we weren't digging it. We ended up leaving the event early. So what happened was Trent had made plans. I'd made plans. I was going to be out all day. He was doing stuff. My plan changed last minute. I ended up coming home. So I started getting all excited. I was like, yeah, me and Trent, we're going to have a bath and get home. And I was texting. I was really excited. He wasn't replying because he was just busy, just doing shit. No big deal. And I got home and I was all excited to see him. And he didn't really give me much. And he was just like, oh, yeah, cool, whatever. And I sort of like, hey, you want to have a bath? And he didn't look at me. He turned his back and walked off because he was just preoccupied. He was just busy doing stuff. He'd already made plans. He wasn't expecting me to be home. He wouldn't do anything wrong. But the way he turned his back on me and just walked away without sort of acknowledging he can't say anything, I remember just feeling really contracted in my body. I was like, fuck you. But at the same time, I'm like, he's done nothing wrong. Why am I pissed off at him? Like, I have no reason to be angry to him. He wasn't expecting me to be here. He's gone and made plans. Also, normally, I love my own time. Like, Trent and I pretty much live in each other's pockets most days. So when we have time alone, I quite enjoy it. I've got so many cool things that I love doing in my life. So I couldn't understand, but my nervous system was so contracted, so irritated. I was so pissed off at him. I was like, what's going on here? Like, and because I've used this process, I knew there was something bigger at play. So I took myself out for a walk because I was like, I don't want to stay around the house because I'm going to end up having a go at him about something for no goddamn reason because he's done nothing wrong. But I know me. I knew I would have he would have sensed in me that I was shitty. And I would have ended up saying something. I didn't want to do that. I took myself out for a walk. I'm walking along and I kept asking myself, why am I annoyed at him? Why do I feel so yuck? Why am I so angry? I wasn't actually feeling anger. There was an emotion under anger that I was feeling, but the human mind will often present us with anger because anger is actually easier to feel than a lot of the other deeper pain. I kept going on and on, asking myself, like, why am I so angry? I don't understand. Like, am I just disappointed? And I was like, okay, just process disappointment. You're disappointed. You didn't get to hang out like you thought you would. And I was like, what's going on? And I still couldn't get it. And I got home about an hour and a half later and he was still off doing his thing and he didn't even come and acknowledge that I was home again. So then I was really fuming. I'm like, what the hell? I grabbed my car keys and I went, jumped in the car and I went to I'll just go to the supermarket to get something for dinner. Driving along, and then he's sort of seen that I came home and left again. So he's trying to call me, and I'm like, no, fuck you. I'm not answering my phone. I'm angry at you. I don't know why, but I'm angry. And I was just put my music on, driving off, and he just kept ringing and ringing. I was just like, nah. I was so triggered, but I couldn't find the emotional awareness as to why. I ended up pulling up at the supermarket. It's dark by this time. It's about 6 o'clock at night, so it's dark. And I remember sitting there and I was going through the step, asking, I was feeling the emotion, asking, what's the emotion? I was like trying to well, what am I feeling? What's going on? Couldn't get it. So this is when I then dropped into the breath that I taught you guys about earlier, the 4 seconds in, the 8 seconds out. And before I knew it, like I'm not talking a minute into this breath work, I was bawling my eyes out, like sobbing uncontrollably. And this image of that man from age 23, me looking at him over the balcony, seeing him walking, his broad shoulders just walking off, and that feeling of rejection I felt, it just came flooding back. And I hadn't thought about that memory for 17 years. And it was fucking painful. And I cried and I cried and I sat in my car and I cried. And I was in all my shame again and my pain. And my phone was just ringing constantly with Trent, but I was so ashamed to go home. I was in such a heightened emotional state, like I was bawling my eyes out. And then finally, I had so much snot running down my face and my hand that I had no choice but to go home because I had no tissues. And I walked in the front door and Trent came running out and he gave me a hug and I just was sobbing uncontrollably in his arms for about 30 minutes. And I shared the story with him. And he's the first person that I ever told about what happened at that time at age 23 with that one night stand that I had. And that was the most healing thing that could have ever happened because I got to be witnessed in my shame. I got to be reassured, and he hugged me and he just said, I'll never do that to you. And I sobbed, and it was a big one. Like it was a big, like I cried. And I woke up the next morning with an emotional hangover from crying so much. But now, like you said, I've just shared the story, you know, on a masterclass with a lot of women who I don't even really know because the emotional charge has been removed because I went through the steps of emotional evolution. I shared it, I spoke into it. And now it's like, I'm good. Like, you know, still a bit of emotion around it, but I'm like, I'm good compared to burying that story for 17 years and making that mean that I was a worthless piece of shit for all those years. So can you see how powerful this work is? That shame that I suppressed resulted in genital warts. It resulted in polycystic ovarian syndrome. It resulted in premature ovarian failure. Do you see how powerful this is? When we do not process emotion and we suppress it, it leads to disease. And so this is why I'm celebrating your triggers. Me being triggered by just the way that Trent dismissed me, you know, innocently, didn't mean anything, was the most perfect thing that could have happened that couple of months ago because it brought to a surface a wound of mine that I had been burying for 17 years. And I've now cleared that. I've now healed that. And I have no doubt in my mind that if I had to let that go, I would have, you know, I'm 40 now. Maybe my perimenopause years would have got worse and worse and worse because unprocessed emotion. So please, 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 I'm begging you, this is the real deal, this stuff, when we're willing to look within, when we are willing to not blame it on everyone else and actually just go, hey, I want to take responsibility for how I feel right now. Because I could have quite easily just cracked the shits with Trent and oh, fuck you, you don't want to hang out with me, blah, blah, blah. But I was self-aware enough to go, that's out of line. Because you just made plans and you were supposed to. But who, like, let's all put our hand up. We've all done it, right? In a premenstrual window, we're unreasonable. We don't know why. And we think you're just crazy. You're just hormonal. You're not just crazy and hormonal. You are processing an unmet emotional need. You're processing a wound. But most of us don't have the conscious awareness to understand that. And so we just project and we blame and we make it our kids' fault. We make it our husband's fault and they shit us. And we're angry at them and they're irritating us, and then we go and bitch to our friends about how annoying our partners are or how our kids are, and the cycle repeats. But what I'm asking for you is to dig deep and go within and notice that every trigger, there is something under it that needs to be healed. And when you do this work and you start to do it regularly, you will set yourself free, and I truly believe that. Activation time. All right, I want everyone to stand up really quickly. And I want you to do like 5 star jumps for me. And I'm going to do them too because I've been talking for a little while and you might be just losing it a little bit. Okay. Come on. You can't see. Oh, my legs are wobbly. Just a little jump up and down for me. Get the blood flowing. Oh, my legs are actually a bit wobbly after that. Okay. Ladies, what I'm going to do very, very quickly is I'm going to do an activation with you. An activation, also known as a process, I'm going to take you through a really tiny process. And these are the processes of things that we do as part of Bootcamp, our group coaching. Every week we have group coaching calls, and I help people process emotion. I help people change their state. I help people shift into different emotional states. Okay, this is the work. Quite often, so I've just given you the steps, and I hope you've written them down. I want you to do those steps every single time you get triggered. But actually, quite often, sometimes it's a lot easier to do it as a group and have someone guide you through it. Okay, so I want you to just settle back into your spot for me. I'm just going to put music on. This is only going to take a few minutes, but it's going to be worth it.
Battery 80%. Connected to Stacy's 854.
Closing down your eyes for me. I want you to take a nice deep breath in. And I want you to connect with your body. Just placing your hands anywhere in your body that feels comfortable. And I want you to take a nice, big, deep, slow breath in through your nose for me. I want you to just check in and feel for a moment. We've talked about a lot of things this evening. How does your nervous system feel? What's going on for you? I want you to place your hand on your heart for me now. I want you to feel the vibration of your beautiful heart center. I want you to check in with that heart. Is your heart currently open? Is it open, ready to receive? Is it willing to love and to be loved? Or do you feel your heart contracted? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel burdened? Does it feel pain? Has it been burdened by so much self-rejection, so much judgment of yourself? Tuning deep into how do you feel about you? What are the beliefs that you carry about you? You are loved. You are beautiful. You are a miracle. You are perfection. How do those words land for you? Do you automatically want to reject them? Do you want to make them wrong? Does your ego pop in and say, oh, well, I'm not, I've just got to lose the weight first? Or does a part of you go, well, you know, I believe what Stacey's saying, but just not for me? What do you believe about you? Are you living lies about yourself? Or do you see your beauty? Do you see your power? Do you see your magnificence? Do you see your power? Take a nice big deep breath in. Feel it all, beautiful one. What is the pain that comes through for you? What are the stories that are burdening you and holding you back? The fears that tell you you're not enough, the fears that tell you that you can't, that you're not talented enough, that you're silly. What are the ego stories that have been plaguing your every day, your every movement, your every thought, and now shaping your external world? I want you to allow that emotion to move through you. Because these are just stories. They're not truth. This is just the baggage that you have picked up along the way. Take a nice deep breath in for me. Feel that pain, acknowledge that pain. Feel those lies that you have told yourself over and over again. I want you to just visualize yourself now walking through a field. One foot in front of the other. You come to a stairway. And I want you to take one foot in front of the other and just walk up that stair for me. Up 10 steps, 9, one foot in front of the other, 8, 7, 6, step by step. And at the top of the stairs, you find a purple door. That's right. I want you to grab the handle of that purple door and I want you to open it. I want you to walk through that purple door. That's right. Amazing. And then in front of that, you see another purple door and you walk towards it. You walk towards that door and you open that door. And I want you to walk through that second purple door. And what you find is a beautiful wide open skies. And here you'll find your higher self, your truth, the truth of who you are. Tune into your higher self. What message does your higher self have for you? What does your higher self want you to know? What story does your higher self want you to let go of because it doesn't serve you, because it never served you and it never will serve you? And it is just lies that someone projected on you. It was someone else's pain that was blamed on you. Notice what your higher self has to show you. What untruth is it that you have been stuck dealing with? Take a nice big deep breath in for me. And I want you to allow the frequency of love to move through your body. I want you to allow the frequency of love to just slowly pry open your heart. And I want you to visualize yourself swaying around in a beautiful long flowy dress, floating around, doing twirls in that field, feeling free, feeling light, feeling so free, having let go of all that baggage, and connecting to your truth, connecting into your power, connecting into your love, connecting into who you are. That's right. Amazing. I want you to wrap your arms around yourself. I want you to feel yourself. I want you to celebrate yourself. I want you to feel light in your body. I want you to visualize that beautiful magic number on the scales that feels good. And I want you to embody it right now. That's what the scales say right now in this moment. You are free. You are that weight. You have just dropped all that baggage, all that blame, all those crappy stories. See them floating away in the distance. That's right. Let them go. As you spin around freely, flowing in that beautiful long dress, just see them all spinning off you, whirling away. That's right. Just tuning into that higher self one last time. What is that message that that higher self has for you? That's right. Amazing. Taking a nice big deep breath in, making the decision and the commitment to embody this new belief about yourself. I am beautiful. I am healed. I'm healthy. I'm loved. I am a miracle. Feeling in every part of you now. That's right. Feel it deeper. Feel it as if it were true right now. Embody it right now. Step into that beautiful feminine energy. You are loved. You are supported. That's right. And then just slowly walking back through that purple door, closing it behind you. Walking down the steps, back down through the second purple door. One foot in front of the other, walking back down those stairs for me, feeling safe in your body, feeling excited in your new body, feeling beautiful in your body, feeling sexy in your body. Coming back to your body now, wiggling those toes, stamping those feet, coming back to the present time into this new renewed body. Taking a nice big deep breath in, writing down that message from your higher self, knowing that it is powerful and is powerful. So guys, we're going to go into genetic biohacking now. We're going to move through it pretty quick because I've been talking for quite a while, let's be honest. And probably some of you are already a little bit spent. Your brain might be a little bit full. But this genetic biohacking, I want to share with you 4 specific genes. 4 specific genes that if you carry these genetic mutations, they will mess with your hormones and they will mess with your weight. And they're going to be really, really important to know if you have them or not. Now, the only way to have genetic testing done is to have genetic testing done. It's the only way you find out what your genes are. But once you've had your genes tested, you only ever have to have it done once. Your genes do not change. Okay, so a test to have that done is around $320, $350. What I want you to understand about your genes, though, is I want you to understand that just because you were dealt a gene, just because you were born with a certain gene, does not define you. Your genes are your potential, not your destiny. Okay? So really, really important. So your genes are the hand you're dealt, but how you play the game is going to be the most important thing. And so I want to give you the biohacks for the genetic weaknesses that you have. Now, we go into this in so much detail in Bootcamp. There's 92 genes that are tested. We go into each one of them individually, and I give you the exact recipe, so to speak, as to what you need to do to overcome the genetic weakness. But here's 4 that are real standouts for me. Okay, so just know that when we understand a genetic blueprint, we have the information or the keys that we need in order to basically how to live our life, how to eat, how to supplement, how to move our body. Like, it is your genetic blueprint. It is so much information. And if you start to live in line with your genetic blueprint, your body shape is going to transform. It is going to be effortless to maintain your weight. It is going to be effortless to have a steady emotional well-being. There are certain genetic predispositions that make you more predisposition to hormonal imbalances and conditions of estrogen dominance, like a polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, and stuff like that. So know that this stuff is real and it is powerful, but we can overcome it. I don't want you to see your genes as a death sentence, okay? We're going to biohack the shit out of them for you, all right? Who's loving this so far? Are you overwhelmed? Yeah, you are. All right. The Combat T. Now, I'm not going to go over the usual MTHFR because you know what? They're old news. Everyone knows about the MTHFR, the motherfucker gene, okay? Very, very important gene, but we're going to go deeper into the other stuff, all right? So the COMP-T is the first gene I want you to just quickly look at. Again, you have to have genetic testing done. If you've already had genetic testing done, go have a look and see whether you carry this gene or not. I'm not sure if you guys can see the screen or not, or if people's faces are over it. Let me just put that down there. No, that doesn't really work either. Okay, my beautiful people. So the COMP-T is linked with ADHD, memory and concentration issues. It is also linked with estrogen dominance, okay? Guess what? I've got a genetic mutation for this one. This is why I'm a little bit all over the shop and why I mix my words and why I leave everything to the last minute. Yes, that's right. People with the COMP-T genetic variation are people that actually thrive on stress. And so we procrastinate and leave things to the last one because we work better under pressure. Who can relate? So the COMP-T actually stands for, I'm going to read my notes here, so the catecholamine methyltransferase. So that is a set of enzymes that this gene influences. If you carry a genetic variation or a defect or a mutation, as it's often prescribed, what that means is that that gene that's controlling those enzymes doesn't do a very good job. And so these are the things that can go wrong. Weight gain, estrogen dominant cancers are a lot more common. Your symptoms of estrogen dominance, so your PMS, your hormone migraine, your painful period. So if you're someone that's like, oh my God, I'm a hormonal mess, I've got all this stuff going, it is likely that you carry a genetic mutation for this gene. And the way that we get to overcome that, though, is we have to ensure that you always have really, really good essential bifidobacteria, okay? It's a healthy bacteria in the gut, and you must have it. You have to essentially supplement with this, including prebiotics, to feed the little gut mode for the rest of your life. And guess what? I run a really cool free colon cleanse program where I teach you how to correct your gut microbiome and how to do all the really cool things. So maybe check it out. Really, really simple, easy. This is why I designed these programs, because I understand what can go wrong. And remember, I had the COMP-T gene, which is why I ended up with weight gain. I ended up with the symptoms of estrogen dominance. So now that it's essential for me that I take care of my gut microbiome, which is why I do the 3-day colon cleanse 3 times a year, okay? It is also crucial that you supplement with magnesium, methylfolate, and also getting enough methionine in your diet, okay? So these are things that I've adapted my lifestyle to, of course. And you have to 100% avoid things like oral contraceptive pill and HRT. I went on the pill when I was 17, and I literally became suicidal. I was instant depression. It was a horrendous month. I got off that pill. I ended up going on a different pill, one of the ones that, those expensive ones that are on the PBS, and they, because they're more delicate or something, I was able to stay on that for a couple of years, but it did not work with my system. I ended up with these massive boobs, and I had vaginal thrush regularly on it because I lack the COMP-T gene to break down and clear out these synthetic estrogens. So they had a really awful effect. So if you're someone that goes, oh my God, yeah, I can't take the pill, I felt terrible on the pill, it's likely that you carry a COMT genetic mutation. Okay. The next one is the FTO. Now, this one is the one that is most linked with your BMI. So this is the one gene that if you carry a genetic variation with this, you're probably likely to struggle with your weight. You're probably likely to be the person that goes, I eat well, I exercise, and I'm doing all the things. Why can't I lose weight? Unfortunately, if you carry this genetic mutation, you are more susceptible to insulin resistance. You're more susceptible to binge eating, because you'll end up with a high level of ghrelin levels. Now, ghrelin is a hormone. It's known as the hunger hormone, and one of its major functions is to stimulate appetite. So if you have this FTO, that hormone goes a little rogue, and you end up producing more of that hormone than you need. It's like you eat all the time and you're just hungry all the time, and you can't understand why. You've just eaten, but you're still hungry. Again, it's not all doom and gloom. If you carry this genetic mutation, there's just certain things that you need to do in your lifestyle. You have to exercise. It's a non-negotiable, okay? Second, you need to get really, really high vitamin D levels. Now, let me put this in context. When you go to get a blood test with your doctor, they say that the normal amount of vitamin D that you need is anywhere 50 to 7 nanomoles. Bullshit. You need like 150 milligrams. I would say 95% of the population is chronically deficient in vitamin D. Simple health hack, getting in good quality plant-based vitamin D, and you can start to overcome the damaging effects of this genetic mutation, okay? You need to get a minimum of 7 hours sleep, okay? Because this is where we do a lot of work regulating our hormones. So really, really, really important, okay? Also, crucial, you must have a high protein, high fiber breakfast, okay? You must have a high fiber diet in general, okay? So if you're someone that's considering going on like the carnivore diet, which is void of fiber, probably not going to work for you, okay? These are the things we need to understand. In Bootcamp, our 3-month program, I give you specific eating plans for every genetic mutation. You also get your genetic testing done as part of Bootcamp. Pretty cool. Okay. This next one, the ADIPOQ. I'm going to try and say that one for you because it's a funny one. It is, oh no, it just stands for adiponectin. It's a hormone, this one. It's a hormone that's produced by our brown fat, and this hormone's job is to reduce inflammation, okay? And this hormone is basically specific for preventing and reversing insulin, or it improves insulin sensitivity, which means that when you have sugar in your blood, you produce hormone to bring that sugar out. If you have insulin resistance, you keep producing all this insulin, but it doesn't bring the sugar down effectively. So you produce even more and more and more and more insulin. And it's the insulin that causes the fluid retention, the weight gain, the sugar cravings, the blood sugar irregularities, and the highs and lows. I, surprise, surprise, have this genetic mutation. And so what that meant for me was, this is why you saw me, that cortisol, that really round puffy face. I was on the wrong diet for me, okay? The way that we overcome this, though, is, guess what? Best news you're ever going to hear, coffee is actually really good for this, which is why my body shape changed so rapidly when I introduced coffee enemas, okay? So what that means is, when I added the coffee, the beautiful therapeutic effects of the coffee up my butt, it started to support the production of this adiponectin, okay, which is the hormone that I wasn't producing enough of because I have a genetic mutation of the ADIPQ gene. Does this make sense? So when I added in that, now what was also going on, that diet I told you that I was on, I didn't tell you the whole truth because I was also on top of that eating ice cream most nights of the week. Now, if you carry this genetic mutation, you cannot consume any more than 22 grams of saturated fat a day. And guess what? A scoop of ice cream has anywhere from like 8 to 12 grams of saturated fat in it. And I was having 3 scoops. And I thought that I deserved it because I was exercising twice a day. This is why I kept getting fatter and fatter and fatter. My body could not produce. Now, I was having meat. Mostly only meat I was eating with red meat, chicken. Red meat was like savory mince, and I was having pretty much savory mince for dinner every night. So a lot more saturated fat in that. And coconut. I was having coconut cream and coconut oil in my smoothies. So I was having 40 to 50 grams of saturated fat every day, exercising like a demon, eating super clean. But this is why I was getting fat, because I was eating out of alignment with my genetic predisposition. Okay, so again, if you carry this specific genetic mutation and you're loading up on the carnivore diet and eating all the bacon and all the red meat and all the lamb, and you're getting fat and you're wondering why it's not working for you, it just means it doesn't work for you because of your genetic predisposition. You can still, if you really align with the carnivore diet, there's a way to do it, but you have to tweak it in line with making sure you're sticking to the saturated fat of 22 grams, and you'd be adding other things in. I teach you how to do all this in boot camp. Okay, so is this making sense? You need more legumes and more high fiber things in your body. And if you can, and then a lot of people go, oh, but I can't tolerate legumes. The reason you can't tolerate legumes is because your gut microbiome's stuffed. I'm being blunt now, but it's the truth. If you are reacting to legumes and even green veggies and all that stuff, it's because you lack beneficial bacteria. And so you're lacking, if you're not getting the fructose oligosaccharides in your diet, which is the prebiotics, which to feed the good bacteria, the good bacteria dies, and then you can't process a lot of these things like legumes and stuff like that. Okay. So, here you go. Here, this is what you shouldn't do, and this is what you should do. So you no more than 22 grams of saturated fat, particularly like cheeses, ice cream, chocolate. Now, also, I still eat chocolate. Okay, still eat chocolate. I have that gene. I found a way to eat chocolate and still be okay because I've taken out the saturated fat, saturated meat out of my diet. I've become a vegetarian, as a lot of you know, and I have no problem maintaining my weight because the vegetarian lifestyle suits my body type. Okay. Also really important to add in these other things here, the blueberries, almonds, strawberries, rosehip tea, chili ginger, because these have a certain compounds in them that stimulate the production of this adiponectin hormone, which is crucial. If you have the ADIPOQ genetic mutation, you will always struggle to produce that hormone. So you just got to help it out a little bit through your diet and your lifestyle. Make sense? So again, no genetic predisposition is a death sentence. All right. Your PEMT, the final one that I'm going to go over for you, this is a big one for hormone regulation. I also carry this one, which is why I probably went into perimenopause at age 27. So essentially what this comes down to is this phosphatidylserine. It's a long one. We won't even bother trying to say that one, but it's basically responsible for the production of phosphatidylcholine, which is crucial for preventing brain fog. If you are someone that struggles with brain fog, you're absolutely 100% probably got a genetic mutation thing. The way that we overcome this is that we have to make sure we're getting either a diet high in choline. I am not. Being on a more plant-based diet, I was not getting much choline in my diet at all. And so my memory and concentration, my attention deficit, very all over the place. I've now started supplementing with krill oil, which is very high in phosphatidylcholine, and my memory has improved dramatically. I have a strong family incidence of Alzheimer's disease. I would have ended up down that track if I hadn't have got my genes tested and I hadn't have seen that my diet was lacking this. Okay. Women who carry this genetic predisposition always end up putting weight on around their tummy, because when this hormone and this gene system's not working properly, you end up with a fatty liver because you don't have enough phosphatidylcholine to break down and transport fat out of the liver. And so it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. So the way that we get to overcome this is we need to support our methylation pathways, support our detox pathways, but also supplement potentially with the phosphatidylserine or choline and the B vitamins. So all of this pain and brain fog and high cholesterol and fatty liver and weight gain and low mood and depression and really bad menopause symptoms can be easily shifted quickly when you know your genetic blueprint and what you need to use. Okay, this is science. I know I'm a bit woo-woo, but this side of things is science. You can't argue with the genes. Okay, so ta-da! Remember when I told you guys, now I've rushed through the gene stuff, but I want you to know that in boot camp, as part of your price, you get genetic testing done for free. Okay, it's valued at $320. You get it for free as part of your package. I go over those results with you. I've got lots of videos and trainings that we go over those things with. It's exciting. It's so exciting. I've been nerding out over it for ages, doing all the research on it. Oh. So now I'm going to quickly tell you a little bit about Bootcamp, very, very quickly. So you can see there, I've gone a little bit wild with the filter, looking a bit like an Oompa Loompa, but yay, celebrating me and the fact that where I've been and where I've come from. It's so nice to be able to eat what I want because I know what my body needs, because I know my genetic blueprint, because I've done the emotional healing. I don't carry the emotional baggage anymore. So this is really, really powerful stuff. You guys can have this process too. So guys, what if I could give you 100% certainty and clarity on how to look and feel your best? Okay. And the way that I can do that is through this genetic testing and following a step-by-step process that you get to implement where I can guarantee your results. I know for a fact that one of the biggest things that holds women back is the fact that you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you're trying all these things and you're not really sure if it's going to work or not because you don't have that belief going on, and you saw it work for that chick on Instagram, and maybe your neighbors tried that diet, it worked for her, and you started, but it feels wrong, but you force yourself to do it anyway, and you're all over the bloody shop and you don't know if you're Arthur or your Martha. Okay. What if I gave you a step-by-step system that was a shortcut to weight loss and hormone balancing that could give you all the vitality that you need? Okay, in boot camp, what we do is we show you how to eat specifically for your body type. So forget comparing it to everyone else. Forget getting, lured in by our influencers on Instagram who are promoting certain things. And they may be great. They may be great for them, but that doesn't mean they're going to work for you. We are not a one-size-fits-all model. You need to understand what your body specifically needs. It is crucial. Okay. What if we could eliminate all your PMS and all your mood swings and the low libido? Like, how would that support you? What if you weren't blowing up every PMS window and yelling and screaming at your husband and feeling more and more disconnected and losing at your kids and then feeling guilty and then that shame cycle repeating itself every month? What if you didn't have to dread perimenopause? Like, I speak to so many women who are like, oh my God, it's over. My life's over. I've hit menopause. And we have this belief that we think it's going to be awful. It can be awful for some people, but it's only awful for the people that aren't willing to look at their shit, that aren't willing to do this emotional work. Okay. Spiritually, if we could help you understand and embody feminine energy and understand the principles of manifestation, you could create your perfect life. I truly, truly believe this. You absolutely fully can. I have done it. Still got a few things left to tick off the bucket list, but I am living proof from my story, what you've heard, where I've been to now having the most perfect, beautiful husband and beautiful blended family, to be living on the Sunshine Coast, which is heaven. But, to have a business that I love, that doesn't feel like work. I've manifested all this because I've learned the rules of feminine embodiment. Okay. I'm going to give you access to certainty when we access your genetic blueprint. Okay. So I could show you a system that was powerful enough to change your life forever. Would you want to hear about it? We'll hear what Mel's got to say about it.
Good morning, friends. I wanted to hop on here to share my experience with Stacey and the Balanced Babes Bootcamp. Oh my gosh, what an experience. If you are sitting on the fence and you're looking for any reason to just move forward with this, that's why I'm here. I have implemented so many techniques and skill from the 8-week bootcamp into my everyday life with ease and grace. And it has been such an amazing journey. I'm doing liver detox shots in the morning. I've implemented coffee enemas, juicing, fasting, being aware of my patterns, learning skills and techniques to manage my emotions, better manage my relationships, and joining with a community that is looking to do the work, that is wanting to feel better, have better relationships, and just have a more optimal and fun life. And most importantly for me, I have not had to use painkillers for my menstrual cycle for 3 months now. And that is due to this 8-week boot camp and supplementation with Stacey and her guidance and her products. That is immense to not have to use painkillers, where I've been having to do that for 30 years. So there's so many standouts. If you are looking and needing some assistance to make that breakthrough in your life, because I know what it feels like to feel like you have done absolutely everything and nothing is working or nothing seems to be working. This is something for you to catapult you into the next journey. And then it just keeps going on and on from there. I am a completely different person. And I am so grateful to Stacey and her skill set, her knowledge base, and her wisdom, and her support and friendship. I could not have done this without her. So I'm joining back in when it starts back up again.
I love Mel. Thank you, Mel. Bless you. So Mel has been through boot camp, as you can imagine. So guys, like I said, boot camp is the summary of everything I went through over 15 years, all the trial and error, all the heartache and heartbreak of trying diets that were completely wrong for me, all the experimenting with supplements that are, healthy, but they weren't right for me. I was missing the mark for a long time. when I started to implement the specific steps that I teach you in boot camp, one by one after other, that is when the weight shifted. That is when I started to fall back in love with myself and my life. And I want to teach you guys it in 8 weeks. So it's up to you guys. Like, you know, it's the certainty that we can provide with you. So, you know, do you want to keep experimenting and keep sitting and looking in the mirror and hating it and just wishing, oh, I could lose that 5 kilos? Or do you want to do it quickly in 8 weeks? Like, this is what we can give you. I've condensed the information down to the stuff that works. So how long are you prepared to wait for your dream body? How long are you prepared to keep dealing with these niggling problems with your energy and libido? Like this beautiful life, as I'm learning and I'm being painfully reminded every single day that life is so short, but life is precious and life is beautiful. And I wasted so many fucking years hating myself. Like the pain that I went through day to day, waking up every day, looking in the mirror and just going, you're disgusting, you're gross, and then shame eating my way through every day. And it's just a shit way to live. And I don't want anyone to have that. And then there's so many testimonies I could share with you about boot camp. I've had so many beautiful people who've done it from all around Australia, overseas. So let me show you that what you get with boot camp. We look at your genetics. We look, so we address the physical with all our nutrition and our cleansing and our movement and our hormone regulation. We do a lot of work on the emotional evolution when we bring you back into self-acceptance and self-love through connecting with your emotions again. And we do the spiritual work too, which is these activations that I gave you an example of. We do those every single week as a group online. All the calls are recorded. Obviously, you have access to these. You know, more testimonials. Beautiful Nikita lost 5 kilos in just 3 days. What the heck, she said. So guys, when you have a clear system to follow, you don't have to do the trial and error and the guesswork. You just show up every day, every week. You get your guidebook out and you do what's said. You listen to my beautiful voice motivating you every day. You go through the videos. Now, one of the reasons why I'm phasing out of my clinic here on the Sunshine Coast is because I can't help you holistically. When you come and see me in clinic, I spend an hour with you. And then a month later, I spend 45 minutes with you. I have so much to teach you. I have so much to teach you and to show you in this system. There is so much to learn. And then I can deliver it in hours of video content that you can be watching while you're driving in the car or listening, I should say, not watching. I can't give you that support. And this is why the clinic model doesn't work for me anymore, because I know that when we start embarking on a journey, we have to make changes in all areas of our life, in our relationship with our children, with our diet, with our choices, with our the way we exercise, our supplement regime. There's a lot to do, but if you've got someone holding your hand through the process, showing you step by step, it becomes easier and easier. So these are, you know, just some more about what we cover in boot camp. Yeah, like I said, you know, lowering the detoxification, we regulate your nervous system, we help you to understand your genes, we create a thriving gut microbiome, we balance your hormones, we connect you with your body, and we teach you how to love and accept yourself, my most favorite part. So this is everything that you get as part of boot camp. There's so much value in there. You get a work with me one-on-one still. You do get it 2 naturopathic assessments with me. So we individualize your program based on your goals and your needs. You get the group coaching element, which is basically the weekly calls, the Facebook group where I'm in doing impromptu lives. You also get the education portal. Now you get lifetime access to the education portal. So that's where all the instructional videos are hosted, and the downloads and the diet plans and the specific eating plans you get. So you get that forever. It's just the 3 months of the coaching that you get, just 3 months of. You get the complete emotional evolution system, which, like I said, to me, that's the lifesaver. This is how we prevent chronic disease. This is how we grow deeply and more in love with our partner. It's like how I manifested my husband. It is how I conceived my child. It is how I built my dream business. So the emotional evolution system is your toolkit to creating your dream life. Okay. You get the printable guidebooks. So it's all in there. And it's valued at over $7,500, but it's $2,000 for those who want to pay in full, $2,222 for over a 4-month payment plan for anyone who wants to do it. But it is for the people who really want to go deep. And it's not just about you looking good. It's not just about you feeling good. For me, the key to this is that I'm going to show you how to protect yourself from chronic disease. Cancer has gone up 300% in the last few years. Like, breaks my heart. So many people and so many younger people are struggling with this. Understanding your genetics, understanding how to eat in line with you, clearing deep emotional shame and blame and these suppressed emotions is how we protect ourselves against these really chronic conditions. So this is really special to me. Got another testimonial there. Said we can go through over and over with a lot of testimonials. Beautiful Brady's had epic experience as well with it as well. But you get the point, right? Oh, here's beautiful Nina. Let's listen to Nina. One thing that we always joke about also is
this guy. I wasn't quite sure what to expect.
Coming back into your body and your health.
And other things with Stacey and Trent. It's just a whole new level of exploration into the and it was intense, exhausting, and so good. So good. Yeah, I feel like my heart's been cracked open with a chisel and a hammer. I got a massive heart stiffy.
So that's our thing, guys. When you move into alignment with your body, when you understand your emotions, when you understand your hormones and your genetics, you get what's called a heart stiffy. A heart stiffy is, for those who are thinking I'm a nutbag, it's just to be bursting with unconditional love and joy. And that's what I want for you all every moment of every day. So just check in with yourself right now, because I know this is when the ego is going to pop in and go, oh, well, I've already got lots booked in socially this spring. I'm going to be too busy. I don't have time. I don't have time. This is most people's excuse. Well, do you know what? Do you have time to be sick? Just going to be blunt. I didn't have time to put on 14 kilos. I didn't have time to get covered in eczema and covered in acne. But guess what? I was forced to make time to treat it because it got so bad and I was so miserable and depression kicked in and everything was pretty bad. When you're at the lowest start of the place of your health, you make time. But if you could intervene earlier, you don't have to, lose time. So we have payment plans. So, there's a lot of things that your ego may want to tell you, but this is an opportunity for you to lean into the resistance, lean into the ego stories, because otherwise you're just going to be stuck doing the same old thing every single day, looking in the mirror, hating what you're seeing, blowing up around your hormones, blaming everything on your hormones, blaming everything on everything and everything outside of you, and not actually taking radical responsibility for your creation. Remember, we take responsibility so we can take back our power, okay? I love the emotional evolution system because it's an opportunity to break free of your limiting beliefs. It's an opportunity for you to rewire your brain and fall back in love with yourself. If you want to work with me, but you feel you need a high level of support, I do offer one-on-one mentoring. This is a $6,000 package basically to have me in your pocket. We voice message all day long. We have weekly calls. I take you through your transformations individually through the emotional evolution process. Use a lot of other skills there as well. I'm about to study Psych K that'll be added to it, emotional freedom technique. So it's a deep dive into a complete transformation of your health. You get Bootcamp for free as part of that package as well. But this is Bootcamp, guys. I've given it all to you. There's so much more I could say about it. There's so many more testimonies I could share, but I am the living testimonial. Like I said, Bootcamp is what I have done. It is how I live my life. It is how I've created my dream life, and it works if you're willing to do it. And we hold your hand through the process, and we have a beautiful community of women who are doing the work in the same position as you. So if this is something that your heart is calling out for, if you know that you are sick of feeling the way you're feeling, you're sick of being tired, sick of being cranky, sick of hating what you're seeing, then Bootcamp, I promise you, is the fastest way because it's biohacking. We're not here to fuck spiders. Someone said that the other day. I was like, what the hell? That's the most random saying, but I think it's hilarious. We're here to get in and get the work done in a supportive, loving environment. So I would absolutely love to have you. If you would love to join, please check it out. I'm going to drop the link in the comments shortly, or you'll get an email about that too. If you would like to book a call with me because you want to know more and talk to me specifically, please reach out. We can jump on a phone call and we can talk about how this can work for you. But also, as we wrap things up, before I announce the winner, I want you to just tune in again that one last time, and I want you to declare to the universe, I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to lose weight. I'm ready to love myself. Because when you declare it to the universe, you're setting a statement. And remember the whole law around cause and effect? When you make statements, there's this ripple effect in the universe. And the universe, through the law of attraction, will start to shift and move and bring up now to the surface the blocks that are stopping you in the form of triggers, or you start to move your way forward, okay? Right, let's find out who the winner is. Okay, so I've got this really fancy app on my phone where I put everyone's name into it. And so it's going to choose at random. So just bear with me. I gotta find the app now. Bear with me. Drum roll, please.
You need me to watch over.
Oh, yeah. You can be the judge.
I'll be the judge.
Oh, hi, Misty.
Hi, Barbie.
All right. So I'm going to show you. Oh, so what are you doing? So I'll just show you. It's got a thing.
Names.
So everyone's name's loaded in there. We had 19 entrants. So I'm about to tap and show you guys. It's spinning. We've got one lucky winner out of 19.
Where's the arrow?
There. Jessica Smith, are you on live? I don't know how to say everyone.
Yeah, you had it.
Okay.
That one there. No.
Oh, I've lost you all. Are you all there still? How do I find you? How do I see? If you're on live, unmute yourself. Because you are the winner. Oh, participants. Amazing. Can someone find it?
Sheer test, Stacey.
Oh, yeah. Last chance before we redraw.
Nikki just said she was here.
She did.
Nikki said that.
She needs to be on live now.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that name on there too.
The conditions of entry was I needed you to be committed to joining me for the entire thing. So we're going to redraw. Sorry, Jess. Love you, but bad luck. Right, we're tapping again. Oh, there you go. It's spinning around. Crystal Davis. Please, you're on. I can see you. Awesome. Beautiful. So, congratulations. You have won complete full access to the 12-week coaching program. So I'll be in touch, beautiful, to give you all of the information. Thank you so much to every single one who has supported me on this journey by just even listening to me. I've shared some pretty vulnerable things with you all this evening. So thank you for holding space for me. Thank you for witnessing me. Thank you for supporting Balanced Babes in my mission in general. It's been an honor to work with you. And thanks for anyone who's promoted this. I love you all so much. And I genuinely just love humans so much. And I love life so much. And so for me, being able to do this work and teach you guys how to take care of yourself is just one of the most rewarding things there is. So thank you so much. I will be sending out a replay to everyone. If anyone wants, please reach out if you have any questions or you would love to connect or love to chat forward, because I would love the opportunity to mentor you and hold space for you further. Have a beautiful night. Thanks for surviving the entire 2 hours. Love. And I'll speak to you all soon.
Bye.